Hi, I'm Reed, this is Crowland Publishing, and today we're going to talk about designing villains. So, the big bad of the campaign, and that's something that new DMs often get really excited by. This is the person who's going to overthrow the good queen, who's going to release the monster that will eat the sun, who's going to unleash cosmic horror, who's going to raise all the dead, the big baddie. And your plan is, okay, well, my guys, my PCs, my party will spend 2 years, they'll get to level 20, and then it'll all end up with a gigantic set-piece fight that they will remember forever. It will be incredible, right? No. Now, we've talked about this before, but over-planning is for novels. It's for stories, not games. You are better off just focusing on who the bad is in this particular arc, in this particular adventure, because big baddies are by definition offstage. The big bad who's behind everything, who you are going to move the entire campaign towards confronting, does not need all that much more planning than just an initial decide who it is. It's Super Bastard the Dragon, that's who's going to be the big bad behind the Rise of the Dragons. It's a lich, but he's got a hangover. It's the devil coming back. They're not actually that important. You won't need to get to them for a year, many years, for months, for session after session after session. Then you want to bring them in. But what is important is having a great baddie who you can immediately roleplay, who can conflict with, who your players will enjoy fighting, and who will die and who you won't miss because players get starting bloodthirsty when it comes to killing villains. So here's a bit of a checklist that I use when I'm designing villains. If you like it, tell your friends, share and subscribe, and as they say in the movies, smash that like button. Number 1, you want to make them memorable in the way that you describe them, and that is the visuals that you give to them. A very simple trick is change the color. If you've been using green skin orcs, make this a blue skin orc. That's the big bad. Small never works, but make it bigger. If it's a mind flayer, what are mind flayers? 6 foot tall, 7 foot tall, make it 9 feet tall. Don't change the stats, just describe it. Give it visually distinctive, interesting features to remember by. Give it horrible scars. It's eyeless, but it can still see somehow. It's got weird hair or no hair. It's like alopecia Chewbacca. You would bloody remember hairless Chewbacca. Give it a deep voice. Let it speak weirdly. Speaking horribly. Maybe it swears a lot or has a particular kind of growl. Customization options are endless. If it's a person, maybe it's a dandy, maybe it's a fop who's always beautifully dressed in beautiful gowns with the hair always perfect, or maybe it's just a filthy grot and he's, always got sleep in his eyes and snot in his nose. Weird piercings, distinctive tattoos. You want to plant a strong hook in the minds of your players to say, this is the villain, this is a memorable NPC. An exaggeration and interesting visuals is the way to go. 2 is motivation. Yes, it's good if your bad guys have motivations. Now, we'll talk about the individual potential motivation on a case-by-case basis in a minute, but villains can do things just for the sake of evil, especially in D&D. People go on and on about how villains have to be the hero in their own story or whatever. They have to be sympathetic. They don't. They don't have to be. This is an RPG and it is a fantasy RPG. Players will rarely invest in the backstory you give to your baddies, especially if you want to make them sympathetic. It's not a book. But if you have your baddie kill a friendly NPC, they'll hate the bugger forever. So give them a motivation that is understandable, that makes sense. I want to rob the bank, I want to kill the sun, I want to become a god. But don't bother about trying to make them the hero of their own story. Just make them believable and interesting for a story arc. Number 3, make sure that you know what the villain's plan is. Do they want to conquer X? Do they want to conquer the city? Do they want to conquer the town? Do they want to open the gate to hell? What's the plan for the scene that they're immediately in? What are they trying to do? Why have you brought the villain on stage? You should know that. Do they want to steal the statue? Do they want to raid the village? Do they want to poison the city's wells? Do they want to find the tomb? Do you know what the villain is doing to achieve his goal in this particular scene? If you don't, you need to rethink your villain. And if in doubt, they're in service to a bigger bad. So that's it. Cool visuals, cool motivation, cool plan. It's all you need for a good enough villain who's going to last at least a few sessions. But there's more to think about, because most importantly, there's the villain's methodology. What kind of baddie are they? There's been a bad guy in the vast majority of stories ever written, so we've got a few recurring methods and psychologies to draw from. From opera to contemporary drama to wrestling, there's archetypes, platonic forms, if you will, of bad guys. and here is a few that I've managed to locate. The Mastermind is first up. This villain is about brain power. This is a schemer. You might not always get a lot of dramatic combat out of this character, but if you've got hidden conspiracies, if you've got mysteries, use this baddie. She's behind the scenes, she's whispering in people's ears, she's charming them, she's casting mind control spells on them. Bards are great masterminds, so are enchanters, and oddly, paladins. They tend not to be great in a stand-up fight, like I said, but getting to them is the problem, because no one will believe you when you say, that's the bad guy. And if you move on them, powerful forces, their allies, will intervene. Masterminds are fantastic, especially if you want to challenge your party in a way that they have not traditionally been challenged before, i.e. thinking. Bruisers, just beasts. They don't have great plans. They have one tool: violence. This is a bandit leader who just wants to smash your town to the ground. This is creepy hillbilly minotaurs, serial killers, mean cops. They're not subtle. They won't respond to much but intimidation or to their own greed, which should make them easy to manipulate, but also they rarely want anything except to hurt people. If they're in a leadership position, they are straight brutal rulers by fear. Barbarians and monks are fantastic bruisers. An evoker, an unsubtle wizard would be a great bruiser as well. These are great intro villains. These are great, this is the person who rules the goblin tribe. This is the bandit raiding the town. The criminal. A criminal is someone who just does their mischief for money. They're totally mercenary. If they're trying to kill the PCs are all up in their business. Nothing personal, kid. If the PCs back off, the criminal doesn't chase them. The criminal is almost always in the employ of some vaster villain, but it's not a relationship that's based on worship or fear. The criminal has a boss. The criminal does not have a master. They can be bribed, but they do have a reputation to maintain, so they might just leave your body hanging in the square. They are clever, they are calm, they cannot be easily baited. I like criminals because some PCs get very upset and very insulted by the fact that this villain does not take them very seriously as a threat. Rogues and fighters are particularly excellent criminal types, but you can use anyone, or anything. Doppelgangers are also great. The cult leader. This is someone who is fanatically devoted to a cause, and they're a villain because they're most certainly willing to kill and horrify and maim and degrade to get what they want. Often these are clerics, but they could be druids or sorcerers or warlocks or anyone. What's particularly horrifying about cultists is that they will not listen to reason. They do not care about facts. They care about the cause, and they dehumanize and they hate all non-believers. They'll also be keen on recruitment by any means necessary. They put things in our ears, Captain. That is the best Russian accent I've ever done. Oh my god. The Nihilist. Often undead, this bad guy specializes in causing death. Not torture, not destruction. They want everything to die. They might unleash plagues, they might form an undead army, they might try and blot out the sun. They just serve death. They might be druids who wish to prune all human life, or wizards who have some kind of population control fetish, or some sort of undead godling. But you can't, again, reason with them, because they will not take you seriously while you are alive. The Soldier. Now this bad guy is honourable, and in other circumstances this is the kind of person who you might call your friend, but they are forced into their duty, into working against the PC's interests. And what makes them fantastic bad guys is that they can be good people who just have a bad job to do, or they genuinely think that the PCs are wrong. Now, they might not be able to hide their distaste at their own actions or their own evil allies. Maybe they're bastards, but they're not evil bastards. But either way, it is very clear that they are a little bit conflicted about their position working for the baddies. The Tragic Monster. Bitten by a radioactive thought eater or cursed by the gods like Calibos in Clash of the Titans, this is Solomon Grundy, this is Swamp Thing, this is Frankenstein's monster. This bad guy is moved by pain and fear and self-loathing rather than active malice, but nevertheless it absolutely threatens lives. And if you can pull this off well, the players will know it needs to be stopped, but they will also want to help it if they can. I highly recommend mutant animals because people go, oh, the kitty! But you can also try and really challenge their empathy by giving them something gross to deal with, like a slime or something. If it can be a mutated NPC that they like a princess or something that they're friendly with, so much the better. And then there's personality types, because certain kinds of people more believably become villains than others. The affable psycho. They might be doing crimes for laughter, as a piece of art, or simply because they think it's funny to watch the world burn. Or perhaps they just want to spread chaos, or they have some philosophical point to make, or they're just insane. From Final Fantasy's Kefka to Batman's mate, I can't recall his name, he pulls pranks, the prankster. They'll be eerily charismatic, often with legions of thugs and goons who charismatically serve them. I actually think they work quite well with cultists. The in-control killer. Quiet, poised, intense, in control. Give this guy a posh accent from wherever you're from, so give them lots of quiet, yes, that sort of stuff. This guy's a great second in command like Kobayashi or Wesley from Daredevil. They see through tricks, they can't be bluffed, they don't lose their temper, but you can confuse them. Super chaotic conditions can overwhelm them, but the important thing is to really make your players understand that they are up against someone who is smart, maybe smarter than them, and they're going to have to bring their A game. The greedy. They just want it all. Sex, money, power, food. They want it, and if you come between them and what they want, they will be moved to great wrath. But on the other hand, PC should easily figure out that they are then easy to manipulate these kinds of baddies. However, they will be very tenacious and they will be very dangerous when you have denied them. But always remember, they will take great risks to get what they want and they will not be able to deny themselves. The prover. This baddie needs to show that they are the smartest, the toughest, the handsomest, the cleverest, whatever. They've got little self-esteem, but they cover it up. They cover up those insecurities through their evil actions. The Riddler is a fantastic example of this. He is a man who commits crimes and then tips off the muscular, violent genius who fights crimes in his city. The prover will taunt, the prover will mock, the prover will really try to get under the skin of the PCs. The prover mocks, the prover provokes, the prover is easily insulted, and the prover is just a dick who you just want to kill. Fantastic personality type for a baddie. And finally, the flirt, the femme fatale, or the demon lover. This baddie tends to fixate on one hero, one PC, and maybe they genuinely fall in love with your PCs. And they try to seduce them to the dark side or whatever, or maybe they do evil things or crimes just to get your PC's attentions. Or maybe it's much darker than that, and they have plans for the damnation of one of your PC's immortal souls. Or perhaps they're a cold manipulator, they don't feel anything, but flirty is the path that they have chosen. They are often mastermind types. Alright guys, I think that we've reached the end of the road. There's some good ideas for villains, I think. We've got methodology, we've got personality, we've got some hooks for how to present them. Good luck with them villains. I think are one of the best parts of being a DM. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and share and subscribe. I will see you later. I'm Reed. Bye bye.